Hey, what's up guys, it's Bunny. I'm back again for a whole new video. I hope the Bunny gang has been enjoying my videos. I know you guys have seen me post videos in the beginning of the week, kind of on a back-to-back type of level, because I'm doing that because one, I have the free time to record a video and to record it comfortably in my own home without being interrupted, possibly because I'm at work and I'm not supposed to be doing that anyway, because anything could happen while you're at work. But not only that, because I just don't know how crazy my work schedule is going to become, or how crazy my school schedule is going to be. So I rather have videos ready to be posted out than have no content at all. With that being said, this video is literally for anybody that you could be truly grateful for. And now, it doesn't have to necessarily be someone you're in a relationship with. It doesn't even have to be, necessarily a friend. It could be a family member. I want to particularly thank someone in particular for something that really opened my eyes to something. Now, I'm not the type of person to go on YouTube and, you know, talk about personal things. I feel like YouTube is YouTube, and whatever goes on in your personal life is whatever goes on in your personal life, and you don't need to put that out there because one, the people that are watching your videos, they may know of you based on what you post or what you allow them to see, but they don't really know the real you. So for you to relay personal issues or anything like that, I think that's a little much, because they're not really going to be able to help you because they don't really know. One, they're not going to know the whole story because you're only going to tell them bits and pieces of what the story is if you do get a camera and decide to record a video about it. And two, they don't really know who you are as a person to really be able to give you advice based on whatever the situation may or may not be. And if you're gonna get it, to me personally, I feel like if you're gonna get advice on a situation or get advice about anything in your life, I would say the best way to do that would be probably actually talking to someone you're actually close to that would actually listen and know you for you. With that being said, this video is literally, you don't have to say their name, you don't have to even mention what the situation is. This video is literally just being grateful for someone who's just been there for you. It could be a friend, like I said, it could be a family member, it could be your partner that you're in a relationship with, it could be anybody that you're just grateful that they were there when you were going through a particular thing, and that they didn't leave you stranded to figure something out on your own. Now, the situation doesn't have to necessarily be bad. Like, some people think that for someone to help you through a situation and be there for you, it has to be a bad situation, or it has to be something that's hateful or, hurtful to something that happened to you for them to help you with it. And that's not necessarily true. It could just be the fact that they were there and they took the time to listen to you about something you were going through. And it could have just been something petty. Like, it could have been like, oh, you had a bad day at school and you didn't get a grade that you wanted on a test, and you just needed someone to talk to you to say, hey, sometimes that happens. How hard did you study? Did you study hard enough for that test? Did you not study? What happened? Did you not understand the material? Sometimes you just need that. I would say sometimes you need that pep talk, but sometimes you also need someone to just listen to something, even if it's something as small as not getting a good grade on a test. Everybody has at least, I would hope everyone has at least one person that they could be truly grateful for in their life, no matter who it is. Like I said, it could be your partner in crime, it could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could even be, I guess, a teacher. I don't know. It all depends on what's going on in your life and who you feel closest to as far as having conversations with. But everybody, I feel like, should have someone that they can run to and have conversations with about certain things going on in their life, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. And this video is literally just to sit down and think of that person and just be grateful that they were there, and just to hope everything goes completely well for them, because did some they did something for you. Even if it's something small as like listening to someone's problem, they did something for you that they didn't have to do. They took the time to listen to something you had to say, even if other people didn't want to agree with you or listen to what you had to say. They took the time to take in the fact that you were going through something, even though they may have been going through something greater, and put you first before they put themselves. And not a lot of people can do that, and not a lot of people even have someone like that in their life where they can talk about their problems, and they can, I guess you could say, express themselves no matter what they're going through, whether it seems petty or whether it seems serious. A lot of people don't have someone that they can talk about their problems with because no one's there to listen. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a young kid for someone not to listen to you. You can be a grown adult and have people not listen to anything you have to say, even though what you have to say may be important to you, but it's not important to them. It happens to everybody. It happens to the best of us. But at the same time, having someone to talk to is very helpful, because I think if most people had someone to like sit down and talk to them about certain things that they may or may not be going through, maybe some of the things that happen in today's society, of people committing suicide, or people, getting upset and doing like a school shooting and stuff like that, maybe if they had someone to talk to, or even under try to understand what was going on in their head, to see if there was a possible chance to help them, maybe some of the things that we've seen on the news or just seen people go through on a day-to-day basis might not have happened. Maybe it might have still happened, who knows, but maybe we could have prevented it. But we would never know if that person went out of their way to seek help and someone turned them down. They never talk about that when it comes to certain drastic things that happen on the news, because if anybody ever pays attention to the news, when they talk about stuff, they talk about it in their way that they want to talk about it, to draw you in so you can look at it and watch it, and that way they can get their views and they can make their money, and they get the publicity that they need on that particular story. But at the same time too, there's stuff of that story that's left out that people might not have known of, just because they feel like, oh well, this doesn't go with the type of story that we're trying to portray when it comes to talking about this particular story. Now, that doesn't make it right, because that means you're only hearing their side of what they think the story is. Now, with that being said, when you report a story, if you know anything about news reporting, when someone reports a story, they get the story from whoever the supposed source is, and they relay it in the best way that they can based off the information that they do get. Now, that makes sense. That pretty much means that you get the information and you try to present it as best way as you can with whatever information you do get. Also, what people have to put into consideration that just because they get the story and they relay it with whatever information they did get on the story, that doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't leave parts out or there was parts of the story that was missing that they didn't have a chance to get. Now, that usually always happens. When you hear about a story, there's always that person's side of the story, the other person's side of the story, and the part of the story that might be missing that nobody's willing to tell or nobody remembers or whatever. But before I completely get off topic, maybe certain things that happen in today's society wouldn't happen if people actually took the time to look at their fellow neighbor or a kid that looks like he doesn't have a friend or whatever, and actually paid attention to what was going on around them instead of so self-absorbed into their own life of what was going on social media or the best thing to post or the best thing to say to somebody. Maybe being a friend to somebody that you may not have considered a friend for whatever reason or may not have considered to talk to, maybe going out your way and reaching out to somebody that you would have never thought to reach out to might change someone's day or might change something from happening that doesn't need to happen because they felt alone or because they felt like they didn't have anybody. Now, with that being said, I'm not saying, now hear me out, I'm not saying that just because you become friends with someone who seems like they're down and out and going through something and they're like stressing out about stuff does not necessarily mean that if the elevator don't go all the way upstairs, that does not mean that that's going to stop them from committing a crime if they choose to commit a crime, but it might help to change their mind about wanting to do something if that is going on in their head. And that might make them consider another alternative that isn't harmful to themselves, let alone other people. But there's no way of knowing if someone's mind, either if the person's mind is already set on what they're going to do, or if no one's there to listen to them. There's no way of knowing if you don't try to reach out to someone who might need a friend, because if you have a friend willing to listen to you with stuff you're going through, imagine someone who doesn't have someone, what they could be going through, and they could be going through something way worse than you, and you have no idea how they're dealing with it. It could be in the most destructive way, but you wouldn't know until you took the time to actually give that person conversation and actually be there for them and listen to what's going on with them, just like someone would be willing to listen to you. And I just want to thank those people that have taken time out of their day to listen to somebody, even if they may have been going through something more serious or they have their own personal problems and they had to deal with something, and listening to your problem might not have been as important or relevant with whatever they were going through. Maybe try to thank those people that have been there for you and try to put into consideration people out there that you may know or walk past on a day-to-day basis that might be going through something that doesn't have a friend or doesn't have someone to talk to, and put that into consideration and step up and actually give someone conversation that you might not consider giving conversation to, and go from there. And maybe you might make a difference in someone's life. The only way you'll know if you're ever going to make a difference or be good at something is, the biggest thing is, you have to put your foot forward and actually try to do it and try to achieve at it. If you don't, you'll never know. But with that being said, like I said, you don't have to tell me who the special person is to you if you don't want to. With that being said, I wanted to put this video out there because people go through things every day and people don't always have someone to talk to, and when they do, you can see a big difference on how they view life. They view life very differently when they do have someone to talk to, when they go years of not having someone. And it makes a big difference. Sometimes that's all someone needs, is just a friend to listen, and just take in that they're going through something and putting their feelings first. Sometimes people walk past someone and they won't even consider looking at them or considering their problems because they're worried about what they're going through. And they're not thinking about, oh, maybe I should go talk to this person to see what they're going through and try to see if I can help them out. Something to consider, something to think about. You know, and something that not a lot of people think about until someone says something. And I figure, why not? That is a big thing in today's society, where you find out that someone who does something or acts a certain way, they didn't have someone there for them. Like, they needed it. And maybe if people actually took the time to make a difference, they might see a change in today's society. If people actually took the time to care about other people's feelings, or even care about the fact that people have their own way of coping with things and maybe helping them find ways to cope in a different way, maybe the world would not be the way that it is. But I have nothing else to say. I hope each and every one of you has someone to talk to about any possible issues that you are going through. Like my mother always said, just because you're going through something does not mean that someone is not going through something worse. So you have to put that into consideration and realize that maybe what you're going through might not be as big of a deal, and try to find a way to fight through it. But having someone by your side also helps a lot. But with that being said, I'm Bunny. I hope the Bunny Gang enjoyed. Don't forget to join the Bunny Gang. Also, don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.